Hi all and welcome back to part 3. If you missed part 1 and 2, you know exactly where to go. And also for those of you that did spot, I missed out 2 specific things. One of them was the Metropolitan Railway, which stopped going to New Cross in 1941. And the second thing was that the District Line headed up to Edgware Road in around 1935-ish. Anyway, enjoy. In 1964, the Piccadilly line took over existing District Line services towards Hounslow, and 1968, where a new tube line was shown on the map. The Victoria line had opened for business from Walthamstow Central to Highbury and Islington, and then down to Warring Street. A year later, in 1969, the Vicky line had officially opened from Victoria to Walthamstow Central by Queen Elizabeth II, who was the first ever reigning monarch to ride the Underground. In 1971, the Victoria line had also extended from Victoria to Brixton. The Northern City Railway had also been transferred to British Rail control. And in 1972, the final piece of the Victoria line was complete, with the opening of Pimlico Station. By 1975, air travel had now become a major transport mode, and a connection to Heathrow was badly needed. The Piccadilly line made the most sense and had extended down to Hatton Cross. 2 years later, in 1977, it had reached Heathrow Central, which is known today as Terminals 2 and 3. In 1979, the Jubilee line took over Bakerloo line services due to the congestion it was facing, and it ran from Stanmore to Charing Cross. 3 years later, in 1982, services on the Bakerloo line were shortened to Stonebridge Park, and 2 years later they were then extended back up to Harrow and Wealdstone, and remains that way today. In 1986, after much delay to the construction of Terminal 4, the Loop line had opened, and a year later, the DLR made an appearance and was opened by Queen Elizabeth II in 1987 between Tower Gateway and Stratford to Island Gardens. This brought the new lease of life to the London Docklands after the closure of the docks. Rather late to the party in 1990, the Hammersmith and City line decided to show face and began running from Hammersmith to Barking. The DLR became far more popular than ever imagined as the financial district took off, and by 1991, all the platforms are being expanded as well as linked to Bank. Canary Wharf Station also opened, and in 1994 the Central line to Ongar closed. The DLR had also expanded out to Beckton. The link between Aldwych and Holborn was also discontinued. And 2 years later, Pudding Mill Lane Station opened. 1997 was a big year for the tube maps. To keep things slightly less complicated, there was a train operating company called Silverlink in 1997 which was owned by National Express. They ran multiple routes across North London, including the North London line from Wilson Junction to Richmond and Clapham, Euston to Watford Junction, the Gosport to Barking, and the North Woolwich to Richmond lines. In 1999, the Jubilee line extended further east towards Stratford, and the DLR had also extended down to Lewisham. By the turn of the century, Croydon came into focus, and the tramlink opened in 3 parts. The first was between Croydon and New Addington, and then Croydon to Beckenham Junction 2 weeks later. The final crucial link of the project opened a week after that, linking Elmer's End and Wimbledon. Ken Livingstone, Mayor for London at the time, announced a 5-year programme for the network in 2005. This included the DLR extending from Canning Town to George V Station via London City Airport, and in 2006 the Silverlink line between Stratford and North Woolwich was closed to make way for the DLR in time for the Olympics. On the East London line, the route had also been taken back to Whitechapel. Heathrow Terminal 5 opened in 2008, as well as Wood Lane Station on the Hammersmith and City line. In 2009, the Circle line was extended to Hammersmith, along with another DLR extension to Woolwich Arsenal. And in 2010, the East London line became part of the Overground network, linking Dalston Junction to Crystal Palace, West Croydon and New Cross. With the Olympics on the way, and HS1 Link to Europe opening at Stratford, supposedly, the DLR was extended to Stratford International, along with a new line down to Canning Town, which replaced the old North London line. The East London line was also extended to Highbury and Islington. And in 2012, the South London line was opened between Surrey Quays and Clapham Junction, forming the orbital overground as we know today. There was also the opening of the world's first urban cable car in the UK, which linked Greenwich Peninsula and North Victoria together. Fun fact, it can transport up to 2,500 people an hour, although I don't know how many people actually use it. 2015 onwards was again another massive project for London. In 2015, metro services on the current Greater Anglia were passed on and trains rebranded as TfL Rail in 2017. This was to keep services running from Liverpool Street to Shenfield, whilst Crossrail, or the Lizzie line depending what you want to call it, starts up. Other Greater Anglia services were also passed on, including the Liverpool Street to Enfield Town, Cheshire and Chingford services, along with the Romford to Upminster line. Similarly, in 2018, some Great Western Metro services and Heathrow Connect services were transferred over and rebranded as TfL Rail, running between Paddington and Heathrow. A year later, in 2019, TfL Rail took over all stopping services from Great Western out to Reading. And this is how the tube looks today. So, in the close future, I'm talking the next 5 years, we have the Northern Line extension out to Battersea and Nine Elms, which hopefully should be coming in 2021. We have the Overground extension to Barking Riverside, which is also opening soon. And with any luck, we'll also have Crossrail or the Elizabeth line opening. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Thanks for watching all, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know anything I've missed out. I'm sure there's so much history that hasn't been mentioned just because of how in-depth it is and how much I can fit into this video. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share it. Thanks very much all for watching, keep safe, and I'll see you next time.